Okay, my butterflies, we are here again, and I'm telling you guys, I am the most excited about this one. I've been excited about a lot of them, and I know you're like, Toy, you always say that, but I'm just, trust me, trust me. This one, I'm excited about. Um, I know a lot of you guys have heard me talk about the milestone circle, and I have one of my sisters, and she is going to enlighten us and help us understand the art of pivoting in a whole nother way. So, Felicia, can you please introduce to people who you are and tell them all about your glorious life?
Absolutely. My name is Phylicia Renaye. I am also known as a dating after divorce coach. In 2017, I went through a very, very hard time in my life. I went through divorce, separation. I have two children. So, from one moment I was married, the next moment I was separated, and a single mother. And it seemed like it happened all overnight. So, I am not a stranger to hard times and just hard situations concerning mindset, mind, body, soul, just everything. Like, and I attribute everything to God. Like, He is definitely the reason why I was able to get through it, why I didn't lose my mind. And just like my spiritual mother used to say, I was not in somebody's corner blowing bubbles somewhere, okay? Uh, I definitely speak to mindset shifts because I've had to do it so many times in my life. My son is autistic. Well, he was diagnosed speech delay, learning delay when he was about 3 years old. He As a baby, he, to me, for my first child, he was developing fine, but I realized that he did not hold eye contact with me for very long. And after the words start, to produce, those main sight words, mama, dada, cup, juice, then he started to digress. And that was about 2 years old. I'm not a stranger to some hard times, y'all. Okay. Single mother, divorce. I'm also a veteran. I'm an army veteran, and so service connected disabilities. So, also, connecting with my sisters, with my single mothers that are dealing with chronic pain. I have also dealt with that as well. What God has called me to do is just to speak life into his children, to speak life into his children, to show his children that there is a better way, that there is another way, that even if you feel like you're in despair, you don't have to drown in it. You can come out of that thing, and all you have to do is have the will to do it. I coach you and take you and let you know that you can go from your pain, take that pain and turn it into purpose. So that's just a little bit about me. I
Mm-hmm.
just recently started my radio show on WDRB Media. It is called Off the Cuff Radio, hosted by yours truly, Phylicia Renaye. Just released a journal on Amazon.com. It is the divorce journal, the divorce coaching journal. And basically, it is just a tool to help you to get from the place that you're in to rewriting your most beautiful life ever.
Wow. I mean, I can end the show right now. I think we done. We finished. That's it. Follow her, get the stuff, and change your life. Good night. I mean that is amazing, you know, and like I can feel all of that, and like I mean I see you every couple of weeks, so I know I get it. I mean I know how much of a badass you are. So tell us from the start, like from say the first hit when you were living your best life, thinking everything was going along fine and nothing would ever stop you. You know, tell us about that first moment where you like realize, oh, life is lifing.
Oh gosh, honestly, I feel like it was really hard for me my whole life.
Mm,
Even as a teenager, just going through those stages of, rejection and,
mm, mm,
even depression at those young ages and different things like that. I really cannot tell you a time where I felt like it was smooth sailing for me. It seemed like it was always a fight and always a struggle. Um, even living at home, it was
mhm.
good because, didn't have to pay bills and different things like
Right.
that. But I felt like there was always a pressure. I was always in sports and different things like that. So that competitive edge was always
Mhm.
there, that pressure from, wanting to win and not, wanting to lose and all of those things. Like it was constant pressure, I feel like, it was a
Mhm.
constant fight for me, whether it was, you know, making my grades or not doing my homework or doing my homework and still getting a bad grade. Like literally, I feel like it was always a struggle and always a fight. And I feel like those times, like this is what I love to say. God does not waste anything. He
Mm,
does not waste anything. So even me talking about that and talking about, it seeming like it was never just easy selling for me. God took that and he allowed me to go back and look at all of those times and be able to talk to people just like you, to be able to
mhm.
speak into the lives of people
Mhm.
just like you. So, I got to a place to where I was just like, okay, God, how are we going to use this? How are you going to use this? How are you going to turn this around in my favor? Because I know you can do it. I know you're going to
Mhm.
do it. And so, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, people can say, they've had great lives, and which I
Mm.
did. Like, I had a really good childhood. You've got kids out here and you have adults out here that had really, really traumatic experiences in my childhood. So, if I had to pinpoint something, like when I was a kid, back in the day when I was young, I know how to get
Ah, right. Okay. Start the
yes.
day party up in here. Oh, so, like, so even during those times, w- was it just as like as the old grandmoms would say, that small still voice in you that just said, even though it's hard, it was still that voice in there that even if you didn't know what it was at the time, that was just telling you keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep going. Even at those times, I wanted to give up so much because
Mm.
when you're young, you look around and on the outside looking in, it looks like everybody's life is going way better
Mhm.
than what yours is going. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And you have no idea what they're dealing with
Nope.
behind closed doors. And so, yeah, it was definitely that still small voice. I always knew that I was different. At that time, I don't think that I made that, you know, connection, like you're special, you're set
Mhm.
apart, you're called. I don't think that I made that connection back then. I just felt like I was odd. I felt like I was always the
Definitely. Yeah.
oddball out.
Mhm.
I didn't start really dressing like a girl until I went to the ninth grade. I was always like, I was the homie, and I like guys. I had crushes and stuff like that, but I was a homie. I'm the one that's throwing football and playing basketball and getting all physical and rough. Like I like that stuff.
Mhm.
But that also made me the friend, the homie. Like I was
Mhm.
never looked at as, the potential girlfriend or,
Right.
anything other than just the homie. Anyone other than, she can play a pickup game outside with us or whatever. So,
Right.
and then when you have friends, because I had two friends that was getting all the play in the world, and I'm like, what's wrong with me?
Mhm. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that. I mean, because I was always short and pudgy, oddly shaped, and like, my mom didn't know what to do with that. She was buying me boy clothes just because, just to make it easy, and
Yeah.
so. I mean, and I was always the wallflower, real quiet. I didn't know no better. I was just wearing clothes, going to school, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And I definitely, I definitely feel that. And but I think that's also that definitely ties in to, you know, like the uniqueness of like the called, the chosen,
yeah.
like we have these phases that we've always kind of been like set apart. We've always been kind of like
Absolutely.
slightly just out there off to the side. you
Yes,
know.
yes.
Um so with your challenges and with all the things that have come against you and that have made you you, um what was it that brought you to divorce coaching? Like what was that point that took you from, say, just, I don't know, like life coaching or any other type of self-help type entrepreneurial to this?
I'm so glad you asked. So this is what happened. I was going through divorce in 2017. My ex-husband moved out in June 2017, and I was already in the marriage. I was already seeing a counselor. My
Mhm.
counselor even extended her counseling to marital counseling, and she was just going to charge my insurance just for me, but she invited my ex-husband in, and he refused. He just refused. He refused to
Mhm.
go. And so, to me at that point, it just, I felt like, well, why am I even trying? Why am I
Mhm.
even going? And so I kind of stopped. I stopped going for myself, and during the separation. And initially, September 1st, 2017 is when I was, the mail lady tried to serve me the papers, but I didn't take it. Um, didn't know what it was, but I had an idea and I didn't take
Mhm.
it. And so I knew then, because of all of the new responsibility, right? I had been a single mother before of an autistic child by myself for more than 8 years, almost 8 years. And I knew that I needed to talk to someone. I knew that
Mhm.
I needed to find a therapist. I knew that I needed navigation. I needed help to navigate this place that I was in, and that was called separation, heading
Mhm.
towards divorce, right? And so, I prayed, I asked God, why am I going through this? Why do I feel like you said that you're not going to put more on me than I can bear? And God, I feel
I
like
feel
I can't
bared.
do this. I feel like I can't do this. So I'm gonna need you. Like, what's happening? I kid you not. I was like, I need somebody to talk to. Like, I need, like, something has to give. And I opened up my phone and I saw a program, a certification program for a biblical cognitive behavioral therapist. And so at
Mhm.
that point, God spoke to me and said, not only will you get a therapist, you're going to become one. And baby, let me tell you, not only did I become a therapist, but I became my first client. So,
And he does that. You'd be like, "Why you do that?" Like, "I'm not ready, God. Like, I'm the one that needs the work. Like, I'm trying to fix me." And he's like, "Well, and will,
and we
but
gonna do that. But you gonna put some work in too. There's some things that I'm
give
requiring
and
of you,
take, give and take
right?
and give." I'm like, "But
Yes.
but why?" He is
Yes.
so cool for that.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, God said, you're going to become a therapist and you're going to get the therapy that you need, and you're going to meet a lifetime of therapists. And I'm still friends with, a lot of my classmates that I became biblical cognitive behavioral therapist with. So anytime I got something, I worked with my instructor, the one who certified all of us. I worked with her. as an
Mhm.
independent contractor a few years after. I think that I was the only person that came out of the program that worked as closely with her as I did. So I am so blessed for the opportunities that the Lord afforded me with,
Mhm.
because it was not easy. But I had, if I needed someone to talk to, not only could I go to the Lord, but I could pick up the phone and call one of my colleagues and say, hey, today is tough. Today is tough. And I'm going to tell you, divorce happened. God had me, said you're gonna become a therapist. I was in school, I was taking my courses and, doing everything, and everything was kind of self-paced, but we had class together a few times a week. And then the Lord told me to start a podcast. Just start getting on Facebook. And I was just like, are you like God, like
Like,
people are gonna
wait
think
a
I'm
minute.
crazy.
Like this.
Like people are gonna think I'm crazy. And the name that he told me to call my podcast, my ex-husband had a an album that was so he told me to call my podcast A Vintage Love. I I was like, Lord, now they're gonna really think I'm crazy. My ex-husband had an album called A Vintage Love Supreme. I know y'all gonna
Mhm.
go look at it. It's all right. Go look it
Go
up. He's
ahead.
good. He's
Please
good.
do.
He's good. So, support. I ain't no hater. I ain't no hater.
Right?
Um, A Vintage Love Supreme. And I was like, God, people are gonna think that I am crazy, but okay. Okay, because I'm in this place where like I am like eating the dust right now. I am all the way at the end of myself. Like I need you. So whatever you tell me to do, I'm gonna do. So I did it. Didn't had no idea. I had my first show in December 2017. Still married at this time, just separated. I hadn't been to a court proceeding. I hadn't signed any papers. Hadn't even opened none. Okay. Um, and then when God told me to go to the proceeding, when he told me to open the mail and go to the court date, that day, December 15th, 2017, the judge signed the papers, signed the divorce papers. I never signed anything. 2 days later, I had my second show. So I'm just trying to, show y'all how God was moving in that moment. Had my
Mhm.
second show 2 days later. So I had to put on my big girl panties, okay? And I had to, and I was away. We went away for Christmas to Virginia. And I'm so thankful and so glad that I was around family at that time. And, my children had family around because I was having a low moment. Even though I was becoming a therapist, even though I was going through therapy, I was still having a low moment. But guess what? I persisted. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things that you have to do when you are coming through a shift. When you are expecting a mindset shift, one of the things that you have to do is persist. You have to push yourself even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't want to do it. That is one of
Mhm.
the main things. And I did. And the next year, I got my certification not only in biblical cognitive behavioral therapy, but also in life coaching. And
Mhm.
so that brings me to the question that you asked me about
Mhm.
dating after divorce. I did not niche down until dating after divorce until last year, 2023. 2023. 2023, y'all. I was doing things, but I kind of tiptoed in it and then I would back up. I would tiptoe in it, and then I felt like I was muzzled because things would happen in my life. I was still working, I still had clients and different things like that. But what the Lord wanted me to move in, I was just like, really, you want me to call myself a dating after divorce or divorce coach? What? That thing almost took me out, and that's what you want me to do? Now, I
Yep.
mean, I'm cool with encouraging people and, uplifting them and
Go
affirming
get
them.
your sis. Go ahead. But
But
no.
you want me to speak to the thing that almost took me out? I said, God, you gonna have to help me. Uh-huh. So last year is when I actually niched down to dating after divorce coach. And a lot of people look at me and feel like I'm a matchmaker. No. What my
Mhm.
job is to show you that the pain that you went through is going to push you into your purpose. And the best way to do that, yes, I have my accolades. Yes, you know, but really the best experience for me, for anybody, I feel like, is the best teacher for me, I'm sorry, is experience. I
Mm.
went through it. I went through it. Everything that I went through, all the pain, all the hurt, everything that I went through pushed me into my purpose. And that is the reason why I'm sitting before you today.
So, wow, it's like, let's talk about, cause I know a lot of Christians, like, birds of a feather flock together. But
Yes.
we also know that we got some of the family that feel because you follow Jesus, you got to always be up. You got to always be having your Bible in hand and ain't never had a problem in your day in your life. So that low period, that period where you had to struggle, like where you felt that dust all up in your nose, but yet you was still going. And you like I know a lot of people will say, well, you know, like, how can you say that you felt low but you still following Jesus? Like, if you believe, you got to be, you got to, be up or present a certain, air. Like, speak to that feeling, and like speak to that person who feels like, because I am doubting my position right now, I must not be in position. So that must be why I'm struggling. And they feel that God has left them because they feel low or left or unloved or whatever.
When Jesus went on the mountaintop and he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he was tempted by the enemy. He asked God to take
Take the cup
the cup from him
if it was his will.
if it was his will.
Girl, you got me tingling. Girl, stop
And
now.
so,
You
you
got me
know, that
tingling.
that that was a very, very human moment that Jesus had with his father. And he said, if it is not in your will be done.
Hmm.
Your will be done. And literally, that is my prayer every day. There may be some things that I want and some things that I desire in my heart. There may be some things that you desire and then some things that you want in your heart. But what God really wants is your heart. He
Hmm.
wants all of those things. And He wants us to realize and understand that what he has for us is so much better. And when we do let go and when we do give him the things that may be in our hearts, some things that are hard to let go of, some things, some people, some places, whatever it is, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna go through a process. It's a children's book. I told you I come to the library all the time. There's a children's book, and it talks about you can't go under it, you can't go
Go.
over it, you can't go around it. You gotta go
Go
through it.
through it.
You gotta go through it. Even in that time of fasting for Jesus, he started to I can't remember exactly what it's called, but he started to sweat blood from his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
That right there should just tell you what he was going through. He knew that it was God's will for him to go through it. And at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, God wastes nothing. So the pain and the low moments that you go through, just know that God is going to use it and he's going to turn it around for your good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I have to say to you. Every day as a single mother, every day in waiting for my husband, for my king to come and swoop me, every day in entrepreneurship, pushing, pressing, and doing the work and all of the things that are behind the scenes that nobody is giving me a pat on the back for. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to encourage yourself. I just spoke to One of my friends has a youth group, and she asked me to speak to the youth group. I had no idea what I was going to say. It was last Saturday, and God just told me to gather these deliveries that I had not yet opened. They were magazines, and I grabbed them, and then he told me to grab all of my vision boards that I had done over the years. I grabbed them, and then he gave me a song,
Mhm.
and then he told me exactly what to speak about on my
Mhm.
way to the meeting. And he told me to speak to the young ladies about encouraging yourself.
Mhm.
Encouraging yourself in the Lord. There's sometimes that you have to encourage yourself. There's not going to be anybody around you to encourage you. You think I was the only one out of all of my friends that were married at a time in 2015. I
Mhm.
also was the only one around my friends that got divorced. I didn't have anybody to talk to concerning my marriage, concerning
Mhm.
my divorce that could really speak to me on a high level as far
Mhm.
as concerning what I was going through. I had to encourage myself. I had to ask God. I had to go to the word. So you have to figure out how to encourage yourself if you don't know how. It's not going to always be somebody that's going to pat on your back. And sometimes the closest people to you are the ones that are
You
the
bet.
wolves and sheep.
Don't say it. Don't say it, cause
Yes.
best, cause that when you said that about the letting go and the people, good. That I mean, and look, cause I can speak to that, especially because I have, and I guess say am in that place of having to, distance myself from
Yes.
people.
Yes.
As I grow as a person, and even as an entrepreneur, as I, you know, change, it's like, change from the mindsets, that I was grown, that I was raised up in, and having to realize like, okay, fine, that's that, but I'm doing me now, and I'm on a whole different trajectory. You
Yes.
know, it's not gonna be easy, and as a matter of fact, it's gonna hurt bad.
Yes.
But at the end of all of it, you have to hold on to the vision that you were given, because there's a reason he gave it to you.
Yes.
Like, for me, I was big on validation from my family and my friends, like my circle that I thought that I had,
Hmm.
and I'm having to learn that I can validate myself, and that's perfectly fine. Like,
Yes.
because I know what I'm doing. It may not look like it. Sometimes I don't even feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm like, Lord, I just want to check. You didn't like drop the blessing when you go into somebody else, like you
No,
trip, you know.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's something that the Lord has been speaking to me about for years. You have everything you need in your hands already. Everything that
Hmm.
you need, for whatever God has spoken over you for your life, for the promises over your life, you have it in your hands
Yep,
already. There's so many of us that are going out and searching and looking high and low, and baby, you got
it's
everything
right there. You're looking
already.
all over it. It's
You
like,
looking all over it.
kind of for I want to say middle of last year. I can't remember exactly, but I was doing that, trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. And I'm trying to, do this job or do that job and, work from home, yada, yada, yada. And he literally said, use what is in your hands.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? I have skin. Skin. What? Talking about? I'm like, what we talking about? And then
Yeah.
I went to a conference.
Mm.
And I also, because of old mindsets, I'm like, well, it was a conference I had to pay for. And I'm like, well, I don't pay for it. I don't know what I'm going to get. Like, I'm used to giving free stuff,
Right.
but I went ahead and paid for it. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go and pay for it. That was the best thing I ever did in my life. I I had written 3 books. I wrote the books. I published the books. The books were sitting right here. They right here. But nobody else knew about them. And I'm like, Oh, and it was literally like almost like God was like sitting in the corner, like, told you, you know.
Yeah, everything you needed was right in your
I
hands.
was
All
like,
you had to do was bet
what?
on you.
What are we talking
All
about?
you had to do was bet on you.
And that's what we're trying to say to you guys. It's like we're not saying these things to like tout our own stuff, but we're telling you that it's possible. It's here. It's there. Whatever what
Absolutely.
I mean, if you make rubber band balls, I mean, people are into all kinds of stuff. I mean, whatever it is that you have a passion for, it's possible. And trust me, I thought, and even that is a challenge for me. I said I thought I was gonna be a world renowned chef, um, but he's even now challenging that thought, because I still have the knowledge. But anyway, moving forward, you know, chronic illness, like, it sucks. It sucks, and it messes with you. It messes with your mind, messes with your body, it messes with your finances. It does. But there's a point where we all have to get to, and it's different for everybody, but there is a point where you have the ability to decide what you're going to do with the rest of your life. Like,
Absolutely.
you cr- uh, it's like chronic illness is what it is, and you have to find your limits wherever your boundaries are, and then you're gonna have to be like, okay, chronic illness, let's roll. Let's get up and go. So, what would you say, and how would you speak to a client that came to you who, look, even say she was, going through a breakup or a divorce, and she had a chronic illness, but she was stuck and thinking, that there was nothing left for her. Like, what would your initial, like, consultation or appointment, how would that look?
Well, first of all, I have to make sure that you believe what I believe.
Mm,
I gotta make sure that we believe in the same God, because
mhm,
if we don't, what I do is not gonna work. And even, I'm gonna tell you about the times that I have been into contact with non-believers. I tell them, I'm gonna tell you right now, all I draw everything and
mhm.
I get everything from Holy Spirit. I'm gonna tell
Yep.
you right now. Like, I mean, I can't make you believe what I believe, but I will tell you this. I have a helper,
Mhm.
and he helps me with everything.
Yeah.
So everything that I say, that's not Phylicia, because I've already prayed. I'm gonna tell you, I won't pray because that's not what you do. That's not what you want to do. But I do pray before I get on this line with you. And so, what I would speak to is, I'm a biblical cognitive behavioral therapist. So what you think is going to affect how you
Mm,
feel. How you feel is going to affect how you behave. And so we're going to start there. Like, that's the foundation right there.
mhm,
That is the very foundation. So the reason you're feeling a certain way is because the things that you're thinking. The things that you're thinking, you are thinking that because you wake up in pain every day that you can't do
mhm.
this. There is so much power in your tongue. So if you wake up and feel like you can't, guess what? You're not.
You're not, and you won't.
Simple, simple. But people have to be reminded that you have that much power, because when you feel it, you in pain and you're feeling like you're in a low place, you feel like you're powerless,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
You feel like you're powerless. Who was it? It was Jacob who wrestled with the angel, and he wanted to be. Guess what? He still walked out with a limp.
mhm.
Still
But he
walked
did
out
it,
with a limp. But he did it. He said, "I'm not leaving until you bless me."
right?
He still got blessed, but still, and he walked out with a limp, but he was still blessed.
Mhm. So, how long are, like, for your, for your program? or I'm not sure how like what you call it, a program or a system, but how long is it, and what can a participant expect if they partner up with you?
They should expect to be challenged. They
Okay.
should definitely expect to be challenged. And the consultation is going to tell so much about what it is that they need, because some people will come to me thinking that they need a mentor and
Mhm.
they really need therapist Felicia. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Some people will come to me thinking that they need a therapist and they really need a life coach. Some people will come to me thinking that they need a life coach and they really just need mentorship. When you need therapy, you're going through something, you're in
Mhm.
something, and you just don't know which way to turn. You just don't have a clue. So you need help, figuring out these emotions, being up, being down, being hot, and being cold, right? So that's where biblical cognitive behavioral therapy comes in. When you need a coach, that means you have an idea of what
Mhm.
God wants you to do. You have an idea of what you need to do next. You just don't know how to get there. Right. And
Mhm.
so you need help to implement the things that God has told you and He's been speaking to you about concerning your future. When you need
Mhm.
a mentor, you have some things in place. You've been working and you've been moving in some things, but you feel stuck. And so you just need to get on the other end of that thing that you're dealing
Mhm.
with. Okay. So it just depends. That's why I do offer free consultations.
Okay.
And I call them discovery sessions because we're going to
Okay.
figure out what it is that you need.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So it's not like,
www.feliciarenay.com.
say it again.
www.phylicarenaye.com.
Okay, and I will definitely have that posted in the descriptions also, so they can click the link. Um, so so I know earlier you mentioned that you that you're not a matchmaker. So this what you do is an individual type service. You are working with the person to prepare them for their person.
Yes, to prepare them. And first we start with your identity. You're one person before you get married, you're one person when you're in your marriage or your relationship or whatever, and then you're another person when you get out of it. You got to figure out who you are. You got to
Mhm.
figure out who you are, what you're called to. And I work with individuals, I work with couples. I also, because my foundation is therapy, biblical cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
And so I don't limit myself. I
Okay.
don't limit myself at all. Um, I work with groups, I work with individuals,
Mhm.
and we do one-on-ones. That's my thing, one-on-ones. But right now I think you got to move with the industry, and what the
Mhm.
industry is doing is a lot of group coaching. I do have some self motivated classes and courses.
Mhm.
And so I have a program called Faith and Love After Divorce, Faith and Love, Finding Faith and Love After Divorce. So that is
Okay.
also something that you can check out on www.feliciarenay.com.
Okay. Is that so? That's one of your resources. Do you have any other resources or support offers that people could check out?
Absolutely. Everything is on the one stop shop.
Okay.
www.feliciarenay.com. There's a community there for support and resources. You can get everything you need there. Just connect with me at www.feliciarenay.com.
And that website, by the way, gorgeous.
Thank
I'm like, what
you.
the heck? I want to live here. I'm like, it just like flowed, and like I'm like, I love it.
Oh
You
gosh,
know,
thank you. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears,
I can
believe
tell. Like you can
me.
tell. Like they put some work in that. I mean, I'm like that. I
Woo.
love it. I love it.
Thank
Um.
you.
So do so. I know you work with couples, so and you do speaking engagements, like you do kind of all the things.
Absolutely. I do all the things. I do features. I've also working on releasing my affirmations book, and it's going to be speaking to being a
Mm,
daughter of God, being a daughter, and how to be a daughter of God, and how to, when you're a daughter of God, like already you in your soft girl season, because
right,
I know everybody's
right.
talking about that, like already you in your soft girl season, because like if you're a daddy's girl here in the natural,
Mhm.
like just imagine the benefits of
Right.
like really knowing your place and being a daddy's girl to God, you
Mhm.
know? So
That's
that's gonna be coming out soon. That's gonna be
okay.
coming out real soon.
Amazing. So as we get ready to close out, just tell us, any other like anything else coming out, and tell us how they, we can contact you via the website.
Yeah,
Do you have any socials and any other ways people can find you, and anything else you want us to know?
absolutely. You can find me at Felicia Renee on LinkedIn. You can find me Felicia Renee on what is it called? Facebook. On
Hmm.
Instagram, you can find me at dating.after.divorce.coach. At dating.divorce.coach.
Okay.
And there's no dot at the end. Okay, that's on
Okay.
IG. You can definitely connect with me if you go to my website, www.feliciarenee.com. Fill out the, contact me form, and I'll get right back to you.
Okay. Well, and so I'll definitely have that on the description, and
Yes,
I'll
yes,
post it up.
please, please. And don't forget, y'all, every Thursday, 9 a.m. WDRB Media Off
Right.
the Cuff Radio with your girl, Felicia Renee.
Live and in color.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I love it. I'm definitely have to get you back. I'm gonna have to get you back to have more conversations. But thank you so much for your time. And until next time, butterflies, we will see you later.
See you later. Thank you for having me.